Yeah, 2015 is looking like a good ass year, isn't it? Kind of reminiscent of how 2013 started for the year of boxing. So I guess we can conclude that the odd years are going to be the good years of boxing, and the even years are going to be the shitty ass years of boxing, given how 2014 looked, right? But to start out this year, we already got a good ass fight coming this weekend between Deontay Wilder and Bermane Stiverne. Be on the lookout for my prediction video probably tomorrow. Yeah, I'll probably do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Um, but recently we have two more fights announced under Al Heyman, right? A new show that's going to be on NBC. The main event is going to be Robert Guerrero versus Keith Thurman. And then on the undercard is going to be Adrian Broner versus John Molina. Now, the hardcore boxing enthusiasts will remember the call out that John Molina had for Adrian Broner, right? I believe it was after he lost to Lucas Matisse, maybe before, I can't really remember, but it was sometime last year. He calls out Adrian Broner, um, and then he had a rapper from California create a rap diss towards Adrian Broner, basically, calling him scared and shit. You don't want to fuck with John Molina, blah blah blah, right? And I don't really remember Adrian Broner responding to this. Now, if you guys remember the response that he had at that time, feel free to drop me a comment. Kick some knowledge, because I personally don't remember Adrian Broner responding to anything that John Molina said until most recently. Um, but he didn't. He ended up taking another fight, and a lot of people were saying, well, shit, Adrian Broner should have fought John Molina. That would have been a good fight because John Molina's a hard puncher, right? Well, we got that now. Also, recently Robert Guerrero took to Twitter before this fight was announced, and he was pretty much asking fans who you think he should fight, and the majority of people that responded were saying that he should fight Keith Thurman. Also, when he lost to Floyd Mayweather back in 2013, a lot of fans were saying that he should fight Keith Thurman next, right? So it's a fight that's been talked about for almost 2 years now. A lot of the boxing enthusiasts, they wanted to see this fight. They think it's a good fight for Robert Guerrero, and they also think it's a good fight for Keith Thurman to catapult his stardom in the 147-pound division. And we got that fight now. Both fights are on the same card. It's going to be on March 7th on NBC. Uh, and then lastly, a fight that's already been announced, but the next weekend on March 14th is going to be Jean Pascal and Sergey Kovalev. Now, me personally, this is a fight that's the most intriguing to me out of the three that I have shown here, because Jean Pascal, if you guys watched when I first started making videos on YouTube, the first video I ever made was a prediction video between Hopkins and Kovalev. And after Kovalev won, I did a post fight, and in that post fight, I basically said that Jean Pascal is the only guy in the light heavyweight division that's going to give Kovalev problems. I said I don't even think Adonis Stevenson will give Kovalev problems, right? And the reason being is because Pascal, he's going to bring to the table fast feet, fast hands, in conjunction with moderate power. Also, he's not Albert Einstein in the ring, but he is smart. He can adjust in the ring when things aren't going his way, right? So it's a combination of things that Bernard Hopkins didn't bring to the ring. Bernard Hopkins wasn't showing fast feet. He wasn't showing fast hands or anything, and he still got to Kovalev in that fight. So it's going to be intriguing to see if Pascal's hand speed is going to be too much for Sergey Kovalev. Something that I can tell you definitely, he hasn't fought anybody with the kind of hand speed that John Pascal has. Shit, he hasn't fought anybody with the triple combination of hand speed, foot speed, and moderate power that Jean Pascal has. So, man, this is going to be an excellent fight. Also, if Kovalev beats Pascal, then I'm ready to catapult him at number 6 in the pound for pound rankings. And the reason why I wouldn't put him at number 5 is because his career record doesn't really show face compared to what a lot of the other guys that would hold the top 5 positions. Like Andre Ward, Vladimir Klitschko, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, etc. His his record, his record against the elite in his division it doesn't show face compared to those guys. So you'd have to leave him out of the top 5 pound for pound, but he could definitely be in the top 10. You know what I mean? This would only be his second elite fight in the light heavyweight division. Before that, he's fought a whole bunch of tomato cans and shit, C minus type fighters. So this is a big fight for Kovalev. Also, it's another opportunity for him to make Adonis Stevenson look like a fucking dumbass, right? Because his last 2 fights, including this one, right? Adonis Stevenson was supposed to be the headliner of those fights. He was supposed to be the headliner against Bernard Hopkins, and he's supposed to be the fucking headliner against Jean Pascal. And what happened both times? This motherfucker ran away like a chicken with his head cut off, man. Like, dude, he don't want that action. But look who steps in for the scary motherfucker, right? Steps in, takes his place, and says, I'll fight him. Mr. Kovalev. And he's going to do it for the second time coming in March, man. A whole lot of reasons why I find that fight very intriguing. And then, also the fight that I don't have listed, but it should probably be, a damn image that covers all 3 of these fights, right? Is the fight that's now 85% done. Mr. Sam Watson, the guy that has them ugly ass twins, right? Nah, I'm playing, man. They ugly though. But anyway, Mr. Sam Watson, Al Heyman's right hand man, um, he and Bob Arum have came out and said that Manny Pacquiao has signed his portion of the deal. So now we're just waiting on Pretty Boy Floyd, right? And basically, if this fight goes down, man, on May 2nd, which I've been saying since 2009 that this fight was going to happen. It's too much money for it not to happen. If this fight goes down on May 2nd, right, the first half of this year is already going to be better than the entire year of 2014, in my opinion, with the inclusion of the Mayweather Pacquiao fight. And then, we possibly might get Cotto Canelo. Now, I'm not psyched for that fight, but it's still, if you put Cotto Canelo in 2014, it's still like one of the top 5 fights of that year. You know what I'm saying? It would be. So we also might get that fucking fight too, man. Dog, this year is gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be ridiculous. And guess what? I want to counter something that Jim Lampley said. Uh, 3 of the fights that I just mentioned are all put on by none other than Al Heyman, the man that recently on the fight game Jim Lampley said is bringing down boxing. Now, based on these 3 fucking fights right here, doesn't look like to me this man is bringing down boxing. If anything, he's gonna bring in a whole lot of fucking fans who don't even watch boxing, man. You know how many people I'm hearing that are saying that they're willing to pay the $100 price for the pay-per-view of the Manny Pacquiao Floyd Mayweather fight, and these people don't even watch boxing. They don't care about boxing other than that fight right there, but they're willing to pay. You know what I'm saying? And Al Heyman and Golden Boy are the ones that are going to be putting this fight on. So, I mean, he's going to bring in a plethora of new fans. So there's no way that he's holding down boxing or he's holding it back. So that's going to make Jim Lampley look fucking stupid. Another intriguing detail, right? So, um, I'm gonna talk about these fights real quick. I'm not gonna do a prediction or anything, but the Guerrero Thurman fight, I think it's a bad fight for Robert Guerrero, but I think it's a great fight for the fans, and it's also a great fight for Keith Thurman because he's gonna beat someone who's respected in his division, or at least he's gonna try to beat someone who's respected in his division, and it'll catapult him, his stardom in that division, possibly bring him closer to a Mayweather fight if he wins. But the reason why I think it's a bad fight for Robert Guerrero is because if the last couple of fights that he's had against Mayweather and then against, I think it's Jordan, I believe. I can't remember the last guy he fought. I don't have anything written, so don't quote me. But he's been fighting like a warrior, right? Per his dad. And that's the wrong fucking thing for Robert Guerrero, man. Like the old Guerrero, he was a boxer. And he used his ability as a southpaw against his opponents. It made, what I'm saying, it gave his opponents problems. That's why he went undefeated for so long. Not because he was a fucking warrior and he was going in there getting his face punched in looking like a goddamn piece of steak after the fight. That's not what he did. You know what I'm saying? But in recent times, he's been doing that shit. So if he goes in there against Keith Thurman with that type of game plan, then it's going to be an easy win for Keith Thurman. with the possibility of a knockout. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully for Robert Guerrero's sake, he's not going into that fight thinking he's a fucking warrior and he's going to use his head and he's going to box like the old Robert Guerrero did. That way it would be a more competitive fight and it wouldn't bring the fight from 100 to 0 Keith Thurman's way. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be like that. It would bring it more, down to closer odds. Um, the Broner Molina fight, this is going to be a fight that's going to pretty much catapult one of these two guys up the rankings in the 140-pound division. Now, Adrian Broner, this is going to be a measuring stick for him because in his last fight, a lot of people said that, oh, Adrian Broner did really well. I thought he did okay. He still showed the flaws that I saw him showing all the way back when he fought fucking Jason Litzow. You know what I'm saying? Like he knocked him out in the first round, but I'm just talking about the how long I've been seeing Adrian Broner with the same flaws that he's showing us today. Um, he had him in his last fight. He had him against Carlos Molina, and he definitely had him against Marcos Maidana when he got fucking mollywopped and his ass beat up, right? So, I mean, basically, man, your stance is too wide. You need to start using your fucking feet. You know, the ability, the style that you try to incorporate into the ring, it requires you to have to use your feet, man, because your defense is not good enough to stay away from power punchers who apply pressure. And that's what John Molina does, and that's why we saw him lose to Marcos Maidana. Now he stands there with that wide ass stance and a shoulder roll, and then he doesn't really incorporate good counterpunching techniques to be able to use the shoulder roll at a stagnant stance. Now we've seen Mayweather use the shoulder roll at a stagnant stance. Sometimes when he's in the middle of the ring and he's bullying his opponent, he'll have a stagnant stance and he'll be in the shoulder roll just picking motherfuckers off with that straight right hand, right? Well, Adrian Broner tries to do it, but number one, he's not that accurate, and then number two, he's not good at rolling with the punches that coming towards him. And then number three, he was too small to try to bully a 147-pounder in Marcos Maidana. So that's why he got his ass beat up. In that fight, he needs to use his fucking feet, man. And he has one of the worst trainers in boxing. Now, I know a lot of people, I don't know, maybe a lot of people will support me in what I say. I know some people won't, but Mike Stafford is one of the worst fucking trainers in boxing. That's because he's an amateur trainer. He's just an amateur trainer. And that's why we don't see no difference in what Adrian Broner's been doing recently. Same fucking style that he had in the ring against Marcos Maidana. And he's probably in training camp telling Mike Stafford what to do, like he was on the stool in the Maidana fight. Mike Stafford was trying to give him direction. And Adrian Broner was like, I got this, yelling at his fucking corner and shit, man. You know what I'm saying? So he's an amateur trainer. And as long as Mike Stafford's his trainer, we're not going to see Adrian Broner change anything. He's going to be the same guy. You know what I'm saying? So, but in this fight, hopefully, maybe he does change something. Hopefully he's gonna be in training camp, you know what I'm saying, doing some jump ropes, doing some motherfucking over and unders, running some sprints, you know what I'm saying? He's gotta get that foot game up, man. Then he has to have the mentality to be able to incorporate it. Or else, I mean, we're gonna see him lose again. Maybe not to John Molina, but to somebody else. And now John Molina, he punches hard, maybe not as hard as Marcos Maidana, but he punches very hard, right? He knocked out Mickey Bay in the 10th round. He punches very hard. So it's going to be a testament to Adrian Broner's chin and how much he's going to get hit. You know what I'm saying? Adrian Broner has a good chin. He got knocked down twice by one of the hardest punchers in the sport and got back up. And, he got hit by the same punch over and over again for 12 rounds. But you just never know with different power punchers, man. This could be the wrong night for Adrian Broner to be standing in that wide stance in the pocket, and he might get hit and get knocked out. Who knows? So it's gonna be, man. It's gonna be an excellent first half of this year, especially if that Mayweather Pacquiao fight goes down. One thing I want to say about that fight is this: I'm one of the guys that was in the minority back when Manny Pacquiao had a lot of pub in 2009, all right? And when I say I was in the minority, I was basically one of the few people saying that, I wanted to see the Mayweather Pacquiao fight, but I wasn't calling for it. And of course, it's a good fight. I've been following Floyd Mayweather since the beginning of his career, and I've been following Manny Pacquiao since the beginning of his career. And based on styles, man, like it's written on paper who's going to win this fight. Now I'm not going to break it down immediately, but it's pretty much can tell who I'm leaning towards based on how I'm talking. But um, Manny Pacquiao struggled against Juan Manuel Marquez, right? Marquez and Floyd Mayweather have the same base style. They have the same base style, and that is counterpunching. That's what they do. They look to counter their opponents, right? But see, when we're talking in contrast between the two, Floyd Mayweather has better hand speed, better foot speed. He has way better defense. Like his defense is A plus, and Marquez's defense is probably like C minus. You know what I'm saying? Um, he's much smarter. He has A plus. His mental game is A plus. Marquez, man, he incorporates the counterpunching technique, but he doesn't have the defense to basically keep from getting hit. I mean, if you look at all of Marquez's top fights, I'm talking about his fights with elite competition, they were all close fights. At one point in every fight that he fought that was elite, there was a chance that he could have lost. Even in the Mike Alvarado fight, that wasn't even an elite fight. That was just uh, his fight after the most recent fight he had after Manny Pacquiao. That fight was a toss up until he started to take over in the second half of the fight. He got knocked down. You know what I'm saying? So that's a testament to how Marquez's defense is lacking. And Floyd Mayweather rarely ever gets hit, man. And then the one big thing that I've said once before, I said it on the Manny Pacquiao Chris Algieri post fight video, and I'll say it again. Manny Pacquiao is completely susceptible to the straight right hand. What punch is Floyd Mayweather's best punch? I'm gonna leave it at that. Do what you do in the comment section. Let me know what you think about these fights. The Mayweather Pacquiao fight, Thurman Guerrero, Broner Molina, Kovalev Pascal. Who do you think is gonna win all of these fights? Do you think these fighters should have picked somebody else to fight, better competition? Whatever's on your mind, let me know. Drop me a comment. Do what you do underneath the video, but be real. This is real talk for real fans. One.